Hello, welcome back to the channel, friends. This is Instant Movie Reviews with Raina and Droo.
I'm Raina.
And I'm Droo. And we're back with another, not opening, well, it is opening night, but it's not a preview screening. But it's Friday evening, time of recording, and the sun is back. We're starting to get back into the time of year where we won't be shrouded in darkness all the time, which is nice.
We are literally sitting next to the biggest snowbank I've ever seen, though. It's literally taller than the building, so it looks like a mountain, and we needed the shadow.
Yeah, so that we wouldn't have, like, light zooming in the middle of the car. So, what are we going to see tonight?
Today we're seeing Undertone, and I put this on Drew's radar months ago because when the teaser trailer dropped, I went, ooh, I like podcasts. Ooh, I like creepy things. And I'm happy to say that the early reviews and the continuing trailers are making it seem very, very good. The premise of this film is it's a pair of people who are recording a podcast. They investigate different things, and they've been sent some spooky audio, like without a lot of context. And they're trying to research it and figure out what's going on. And when they listen to it, it's very creepy. So it's reminding me a little bit of, I believe the Netflix series was called Archive 88. And it was phenomenal. It starred the guy who was in that Elemental movie that you liked, who played Wade. So he was in it, and he was restoring old audio tapes. And as he was doing it, like a mystery was coming about. And the focus of that film, there was a lot of sound as the horror element. Same thing with A Quiet Place. So I hear that that's what this is, that the soundtrack itself is like its own movie, and that even if something scary isn't necessarily happening on screen, the sound is really enough that it's actually freaking people out. And I remember when we saw A Quiet Place the first time, that first film, we had that reaction where it was dead quiet and every little sound gave you so much dread. So I feel like this is similar. I can't tell from the trailers if there's more than one main actor on screen. It seems like there's an actress, and maybe we see her sick mother in bed from time to time.
Is this a found footage style kind of filming?
No,
or is it a traditional,
it's her like working at her computer while she's doing this, and she's talking to a guy, but he's not shown in the trailers at all. So I'm kind of curious if this is one of those films where it just kind of focuses on one person and everything that's happening to them, and she does have these outside communications, but you never see them.
Okay.
Which I always find a very interesting choice, you know. We've seen that in films where somebody's like a 911 operator or something, and then you don't actually see the person they're helping until the very end.
Yeah.
So, and I found it a very interesting plot device when it's done correctly. I don't know if that's actually it, but I think it's interesting we haven't seen anybody else in the trailers.
I haven't actually watched the trailers for this one. I want to go in as unspoiled as possible, so I have literally no idea what to expect.
The trailers show very, very little. It's literally just her working at her computer and like listening to one of the first sounds. A lot of the teasers are audio based. They're not even video. They're audio based. It does give me, I don't know if you ever watched or even heard about the Skinamarink film that was so viral.
I didn't see it, but I've heard about it.
Yeah, so I saw it, and I didn't find it super scary, but I kind of understood why people like it. It's giving me vibes like that, just more like an audio thing, like it's what you don't see that scares you. But we'll see. It's getting good early reviews. I'm super excited. I love podcasts being used as a plot tool device. I'm seeing it a lot more in books and audiobooks as well. So I like that it's starting to work into films a little bit, because they are so huge in pop culture for like the past 5 years. So it's kind of strange to me. We tap into all these other things, like you've got the horror that's based on social media, the horror that's based on webcamming and stuff. So like I was kind of like, we should have some more horror based on podcasts. I've read books where the horror is based on podcasts. So like, I want to see some come to life. And I don't know, maybe some of our more aficionado, viewers can correct me and say that there are some out there and I just don't know about them or something.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty like, innovative. So yeah,
I'm looking forward to something a little bit experimental. Hopefully they do it better than Shelby Oaks did it. But so yeah, we're just in the car in the parking lot. We're actually about to go to dinner first before we see this. So we're gonna go fill our bellies and be two adults just chit-chatting and catching up on things. And we'll be back in darkness in several hours after the film to let you know, spoiler free. We won't give anything specific away. So come back in a few minutes and we'll tell you what we thought of Undertone. We'll see you in a few minutes.
I'm really, really messed up after that film. We went into that really blind. I know you didn't see the trailer, the only thing the trailer gave away is that like she was living with person, probably her mother or grandmother or somebody who was like dying. That's really and making a podcast. There's a lot of themes in this. I don't want to spoil specifics, but you get a lot of your classic horror themes, you know, spirituality coming in and going. There's a lot about life experiences, specific life experiences that can influence things. And it hit me like a truck. It was tropes that we see all the time done differently because of this audio factor.
I don't want to give away what is actually happening in this because again we promise not to talk about anything that's not in the trailers, but
there's just so little in the trailers. I'm really struggling, like how do I tell people how good this is and what's good about it?
I think we can keep it vague, so I can start. So what this movie does touches on a subject matter that lots of other horror movies have done. What I appreciated is that it didn't dip into the way overdone tropes, the kind of imagery that we see all the time, the things that are like super in your face and obvious and like that just feel kind of cheap. I very much appreciated how the movie is so impressionistic in terms of what it presents, and the fact that it takes its time and it doesn't rush things, and it takes you on this very slow burn, but mounting journey towards a very explosive climax.
It's slow burn in the beginning, and it's scary by like the fear of this film is the atmosphere it creates and the sense of impending doom and dread with like every scene that passes. You do have like a few jump scares, a few flashes of potentially scary things or gory things, but they're just enhancing what your brain is already doing and filling the gaps in on what it's hearing. The audio work was just like a master class. So right out of the gate in the beginning, even just the benign day-to-day stuff is very ASMR-esque.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I don't like ASMR. So it was really like kind of grating on my nerves. I was like, oh, that's what it's going to be like. We're going to hear every freaking thing in this film. Okay. But I got over that quickly, even as a person who doesn't like ASMR, because it just starts building to something. And I was so curious. Like I felt like I was listening along to a podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to know the answer to the mystery. And I want to know what's next.
The portions where they are just recording their podcast, there were parts of the movie where I was thinking, this almost feels like it could have just been presented as an audio only. You're listening to this podcast, but there are things that are happening outside of the podcast and things that are happening visually that it wouldn't work quite as well if it was purely an audio.
It would work as an audiobook.
I feel like it's more effective though with the things that we can see, and there are things that happen when they're not recording the podcast, and we would lose those.
No, I feel like the entire thing could work as just audio, start to finish, not just the podcast, the entire thing. You could do it as like an audiobook with actors and stuff. Like I've listened to horror audiobooks that are like this, and you are hearing the sound effects of things. You're hearing the dialogue between the people. Like I've actually listened to an audiobook about a podcast, and it did this, like it jumped between what was actually happening and the podcast recordings.
Do you remember at the beginning of Shelby Oaks when it was like just sort of the true crime aspect of it? And I was like, I wish they had just stuck with this for the movie. This movie figured out what it wanted to be, and it stuck with it. And I'm sure the temptation was there to go bigger, to go broader, to have a more expansive view of things. But just how contained this is and how claustrophobic it is, I think the movie ends up being so much better for resisting that temptation to go big.
Yeah.
Right?
If you are someone who's recently or is dealing with a loved one who's in the process of passing away or did pass away recently, you might find it quite triggering. I think part of why this film is so raw for me is because I lost my mom when she was young, and I sat with her while she passed away, and it was people try to make those experiences peaceful, but for me, I was sort of hyper aware of my surroundings, and I felt like whoever wrote this must have had a similar experience, because you have this character who's trying to care for their mother, but as an audience we're also very aware before the horror even starts of like every sound, every change in light, every change in the person's breathing. Like every subtle thing doesn't feel subtle, it feels overwhelming. And when you're in a moment like that, time does stop, and it does feel that way. So I felt like that whoever came up with that, like all these scenes surrounding the mother, they must have had an experience, because it was too real for me almost. So I just want to give that trigger warning that it caught me off guard. So it made me really uncomfortable for the entire film right from the out of the gate. And I would have still seen it knowing that. I just probably would have wanted to prepare myself mentally before it. And it's not like a massive trigger or anything. Like you'll be fine. It's just, it is a bit raw. Like I wasn't expecting it to hit me. And I was like, geez, this feels very real. And there were other aspects of the film that were very real for me that I can't get into without spoiling, but it mirrored some aspects of my real life. And some of them were really, really specific, and it freaked me out. The coincidence level, I guess, really specific.
Yeah, you had a big reaction in the theater at certain things, and I was like, that was spooky, but that was a big reaction. So it's interesting that some of that stuff kind of, I don't know,
like I'm really freaked out actually, because it just felt like too specific. And I know that that's just a coincidence, because I didn't even tell Drew any of these things until after the movie, and my husband knows them because he experienced some of them with me, but it's not something I've talked about. So it's not like I've written it all over the internet and like the writers must have found it or something. I feel like it's not necessarily something, some of the things are not things you would easily think up. So I'm like, man, did they have experiences like this? Like it's freaking me out. But I think because of that, I'm having a bit of trouble being objective here, because it's not feeling like a movie to me. It's feeling like a genuinely like terrifying experience. Like I was scared in that movie. I started to tear up at one point, because I was like, this is too real for me. Do I have to leave? And I think part of why it was so real is because it was so expertly shot. The sound was so amazing, and it was so immersive. So immersive.
So when I was saying that it almost could have worked just as an audio, but the visuals add to it, there are some beautifully framed shots where they place the camera angles, what they're choosing to show, the pans that they do. It's not flashy, but it's very stylistic, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
And I was just like, so many shots, I was just like, that is beautiful. And it almost looked like, did you ever play any of the old classic, like old school Resident Evil games? Not the newer ones, but so back in the day, they used what was called static camera angles. So the camera would be set, and you'd be looking at the room or wherever you're at from this very fixed camera angle. And sometimes the angles that they would use would be disorienting, or they would be a very unusual shot. Like the first Silent Hill would do like very weird camera pans, like while Harry is walking through the alley. And it sort of reminded me a little bit of old school survival horror in the way that the shots were framed, where the camera was and what they chose to show. It really is just an experience.
It's an experience. It's hard to call it a movie. Like it's like you need to be with a good audience, because our audience didn't start out great. There were some teenage boys, and they were being rowdy, and Drew asked them to be quiet. And they did, but I think one of the reasons they did is they got freaking scared. And twice one of the boys made like a gulping noise, and I was like, is he being funny? And then I realized, like, no, they're actually scared. Like I can hear them freaking out over there. They're scared. And it's so crazy that a movie could create this level of dread without, like, I don't know, other movies I've seen like that make me genuinely stressed out for the characters. It's like you are fourth walling and you're seeing the killer come up or something. You know what I mean?
Did you like that? Did you mention Skinamarink in the intro?
Yeah. So it's definitely Skinamarink vibes, but from an audio, like even the shots though did remind me a bit of Skinamarink, but I wasn't scared by Skinamarink. I'm messed up for watching this movie. I messed up.
The other thing that it reminded me of that I was saying to you as we were walking out of the theater is there's an independent horror game that was released, which was kind of a clone of a short experience called PT, which was a playable teaser for a Silent Hill game that ended up being canceled. But it was so influential and so beloved that a lot of people started doing these, like what we would call PT clones. And there was one that actually went to full release called Infliction, which is a first-person horror game where you're in a house that the character has a personal connection to. You're walking around, lights are flickering, you're hearing sounds. There's another one called Visage, which I actually personally find so terrifying. I played part of
Visage and Infliction,
and I never finished it.
Both of them terrified me.
Yeah.
I finished Infliction. I couldn't finish Visage. It scared me too bad.
Yeah, I couldn't finish Visage. And so again, like, the house and the way it looks, and there's just this sense of dread and something bad is about to happen. Even if, again, it's a slow burn, there's not a lot that really happens for portions of the movie, but like, and the audio vlogs that they're listening to, you're like, it very quickly is like, I don't think we should be listening to this.
Yeah, and it's just like, once it builds that dread, it doesn't give you much respite from the dread. So that can be like an overwhelming sensory experience. Like, I was starting to, like, my jaw was tightening. I heard your belly kept gurgling.
Yep. You don't get a palate cleanser. Like, do you remember in Primate how it keeps cutting away from the house and the monkey to the father?
Yeah.
Just to give us a little bit, like, take us out of that scene. This movie does not ever let you leave this scenario.
No, because even when you're not dealing with the potential horror stuff, this person is still confronted by their dying parent. And then that's scary enough. Like, just dealing with a dying parent and like being in the environment of a dying person, like, there's a lot that goes on there, and you're like, again, you're hyper aware of everything, and not all of us deal with that well. Like, you know, some people try to make it as beautiful experience as they can, but if you're not, you know, like in my case, you know, my mom passed away young, and I got the impression from this that, you know, this was a little bit unexpected, like they became sick and then all of a sudden it just kind of escalated. So like, I get it. It's just, it was a lot. There was a lot of themes, and it did it well without feeling like ADD. There was a lot of themes. They kind of teased them out. They didn't hit us over the head with them at first.
Doesn't over-explain anything.
Roll it out. And I just like, I think it did a better job of making you ask questions and be curious. I feel like that's what Weapons was trying to do. Like, Weapons was really trying to get you to wonder, like, what happened to these kids? Where did these kids go? But then they kind of beat you over the head with what happened to the kids, right? This, you only know by like the last little bit what has been happening, and like what is the mystery, and by then it's too fucking late. Like,
and the audio is so good, and the acting from the few characters we get, and even there are some characters in this movie that we never actually see.
Yeah, I was right.
Their voices.
I was right.
And the voice, I don't want to saying voice actors makes it sound like a video game, but the actors that they got to do these voices, very well done. And you said ASMR, like, as unsettling as that movie is, there was also something weirdly kind of comforting about the way that certain sounds sounded.
Certain voices and things were very soothing. I found him very soothing.
Justin?
Yeah, Justin, very soothing. I like that there's other characters and we just don't see them. Like, she takes phone calls, or there's a nurse in to take care of her mother and stuff, and you never see them. It's literally a one-woman show. And this is another one of those things that could be adapted to the stage. I feel like I said that with her, what was it that we saw with
is it Heretic?
Heretic, yeah. Yes. So Heretic, I felt like Heretic could, like, it was one of those films that could easily be adapted into a stage play with just the three characters talking, and then the set's just like changing, right? This is similar. I think if they had speakers around an audience, like, I feel like an audience would get genuinely scared by this.
But I wonder. I don't know how long this will be in theaters. It's an A24 release. Those tend not to last very long. It's a Canadian film, so I'm not even sure, sitting here time of recording, how much of a release outside of this country this is going to get. But I don't know if this movie is going to work as well if you are watching it at home and you don't have a surround sound setup.
The sound is so important.
The sound is so important, and there's moments where, like, she's listening to these audio files, but then there's a sound that makes it sound like maybe it's actually also happening in her house.
This is part of it.
And the speakers behind you in the theater or above you, like, the sound design and how they did, like, the 3D audio of this. I feel like if you don't have a surround sound good setup, that is not going to have nearly the same effect.
Or listen to it on headphones, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But like, it plays with the sounds a lot. Like, you really can't tell sometimes if what you're experiencing is what the character's hearing in their headphones when they're listening to the podcast stuff, or if it's happening outside. And that's part of what makes it disorienting. That combined with like the camera angles and just like everything, like the way they cut some of the stuff, like, oh my gosh, it really stressed me out. I feel like I'm gonna have nightmares from it. I feel like I'm gonna have trouble going to sleep. And I also found myself hearing things in the audio that maybe wasn't what the characters are like trying to communicate. Like, oh, like they'll say, oh, did you hear this? It sounds like it said blah blah blah, but I'm like, oh my god, no, I thought it said something even more sinister, right? When
like the part where she wrote down what she heard, I'm like, that's not what I heard. I heard something completely different in that.
Yeah. So I did go through a period of playing songs backwards when I was in high school. My friend and I, like, there's this whole theory about playing, is it The Wall backwards,
Yes.
and The Wizard of Oz or something?
Yeah.
So if you listen to Stairway to Heaven backwards, there's parts of it where it literally sounds like he's singing sad, sad Satan, sad, sad Satan. And I was religious at the time. I was brought up in a religious household. Like, that used to freak me out so much. And I think that's another trigger warning I want to give people, is that if you are religious, so you believe in any kind of religious, like, supernatural, like demons, whatever, this is not like a hit you over the head possession kind of movie or anything either, so I don't want you to worry about that. But if you are religious, or if you're like an ex-religious person like I am, and you have a little bit of that like hungover guilt from leaving the church and whatever, it plays on some of those themes, and it could be more scarier to you than somebody who's never experienced religion.
And I absolutely agree. I have experienced religion, but not like personally. I went to a religious school for reasons basically that it was cheap.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the religion of the school, and that led to its own series of misadventures.
Yeah.
But I don't have any, like, I didn't have any ingrained beliefs, and I left that scenario still without any ingrained beliefs, although they tried to drill it into me. My experience of that from a fear perspective, I know, was very different, because you found it extremely frightening. I found it spooky and unsettling, but I wouldn't say that I was frightened by it. So I feel like what experience you bring to this is going to influence how much it works for you.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm trying to get to, is like, some people are going to be more scared of this than other people. I also think it's a very female heavy storyline and point of view, and because of that, there are experiences that are mostly unique to women, kind of things that like men can empathize with, but they're never going to experience. So it's like, you don't totally understand the fear that goes there, right? And so there were aspects of that really got to me deeply. So I definitely feel like it obviously sitting here stressed me out more than Drew, right? But I think those are some of the factors for me. It's like sort of the little bits in playing with religion, the fact that I recognize some personal experiences in it that were really, really specific, and it's like obviously a coincidence, but freaky kind of coincidence. And then just like some of the female perspective that I could really relate to as well was just very specific. So I think there is, like, there's a demographic out there that this is going to be really disturbing for, and then everyone else is going to be like, oh yeah, that was like a fun, scary, immersive movie.
And I feel like there's also going to be some people that will be like, that was boring, there are long stretches where nothing happens, and I didn't like it. So it's not going to be for everyone. It's very artsy, it's very stylistic, it's very impressionistic in the way that it presents itself. It's A24, no big surprise
I
there.
think it's going to do better than The Bride, which is unfortunate, because I think The Bride was great, and it's too bad it's too divisive. But I think it's like, this has already been getting really high ratings, so I think people are going to be more open-minded to it.
There were a lot of people at our screening.
We were surprised, because when we bought tickets like yesterday, there was like 3 of us. So just to see it fill up was
which
really
I find
nice.
Interesting, because the only reason I know about it is because you mentioned it. And I was like, I never saw a trailer, I didn't see advertisements
Something about
online,
this film, it's funny because the trailer really does not show much, but I just respond so well to audio in that it makes me feel so immersed that like I felt this pull to it. But now that there's like all these creepy coincidences with my real life, I'm a little freaked out, and I feel like, is this going to become like a self-fulfilling prophecy? Because in the film, it's them making a podcast, we're making a YouTube video, right? And they're like talking about these recordings, and we're talking about this creepy movie, and there's like coincidences for them between the recordings and their real lives, and I'm like, okay, now there's coincidences for me in this movie. So like, are we about to get haunted or something? Like, what's about to like, Drew will have to follow up with you in the next video, and if I'm not here, you know why? Like, you have to
if you're not here, it's because I've done another solo shorts review.
Well, that's what I mean. You have to start it by being, first of all, Raina's okay, because I am freaked the F out, my friend. You're gonna have to bleep me, because I'm pretty sure I dropped an F-bomb at some point, because I'm just so freaked out. Like, all right. Anyway, what are you gonna rate it?
So I'm going to give it a very positive 7 out of 10, just because, again, I appreciated the restraint, but at the same time, the restraint kind of leaves me feeling a little bit like it could use maybe just something a little bit more. But at the same time, don't want it to lose the subtlety. I don't want it to be like the most recent Exorcist Believer movie that was just like bleh in your face. Like, I don't like it to be too obvious. But I feel like maybe there just could have been a little something extra to push it into great territory for me. But still, beautifully shot, Love the cinematography. The acting was great. The voice performances were good. The audio was out of this world. You know what? I'm changing. I'm going up to an 8. I'm going up to an 8. I'm talking myself into an 8 as I talk about it. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. Could have used just a little bit more juice, but I definitely enjoyed it. And it's if you're looking for something artistic and different, it's definitely up that alley. What about you?
I've never wanted to leave a movie so bad, and it wasn't because it was bad. I was terrified.
You wanted to leave Widows.
Like at the oh god, that was different. At the end of it, like I was just like, I need to get out of this. Like I just need to get away, and I almost didn't make it to the end. I looked at Drew at one point, and I had tears in my eyes because I was just so freaked out. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 for all the reasons that Drew said, and I recognize my own bias that I'm putting a bit of my own life into it, but I think like half the audience probably will. I think there are people, like whether they were religious or are religious or are a woman, I feel like they're going to get a little bit more out of it. And I don't want this to make it sound like it's some women's movie or something, because I know that that is sort of the bad rap that The Bride is getting. It's not. Like, it's definitely not made to like pander or anything like that. It's not. It's just these are the themes that a lot of women deal with. And a lot of women do end up being the caregivers for dying parents when it comes to like brother sister split kind of thing too, right? So like I just related to a lot of it. So it's 9 out of 10, and I wanted an epilogue or something. I wanted to see like the way it ends and everything. It's not necessarily ambiguous, but I would have liked a time jump or something, or an explanation, or an end credit scene where there's a newspaper or something. I don't know. Like I
love the ending.
I mean, I did love the ending too. I loved what it did. I just wanted a little bit more. Like you're saying, I wanted it to just go a little further. I'm like, I just wanted actually a little bit more story. I just wanted just a little bit more, like a little bit more.
I'm the opposite. I have no notes for that ending, and I can't say what the ending reminds me of without completely spoiling how this ends, but there's a very particular movie I'm thinking of.
Tell me afterwards.
That the ending reminds me of, and I love that ending as well. And I'm like, I just love when it just ends on that note, and I won't say any more than that.
This is the kind of movie that like, it terrified me. It's leaving an impression on me. I'll probably not be able to watch it for 10 years, but then I'll go back and watch it and be like, why was I so bothered by that? You know? But there, I don't know, man. I feel like I picked up the movie from The Ring or something, and like something's gonna happen to me. Like I just the coincidence.
Just message me if you feel freaked out. Message me.
Once this has been out for a bit, maybe when it's been out and I'm not in danger of spoiling it, I will do a shorts video where I tell you all. Let me know if you want to hear this. I will tell you all of the crazy coincidences about my life that are in this film. There's very specific creepy things. And there's even stuff I haven't even said to Drew yet, because I'm like, I don't even know how to explain this one. But if there's interest, let me know in the comments. I'll give it like a month or something, wait till it goes to streaming even so people can watch it. Yeah. And I'll go do a shorts review and just be like, here, this is my review, but it includes spoilers and my story of like what I relate to. And then you can tell me if I'm being crazy or not.
And before we end this video, I just want to tell you that I'm pretty sure I read online that the director of this has already been tapped to do the next Paranormal Activity movie.
Wow.
So that will actually be, I think, worth watching, because that guy, with what he did with that movie, I would love to see a Paranormal Activity.
I said to Drew at the beginning when I leaned over, I was like, this feels like an audible Paranormal Activity. Like it sounds like an audio version of Paranormal Activity. It was really freaking me out. Like I played a Paranormal Activity VR game. It was like that. It was like being in it was like so freaking creepy.
So that is our review of Undertone. It opens tonight, time of recording. It's A24. It's an independent. It's not got no big name actors. It's not going to be around long. Go see it in a theater if you're interested, because you've got to see it with that surround sound, with that excellent audio. This is one of those ones where I feel like waiting for streaming or waiting for home is really going to detract from the experience, depending on what your setup is. So that's it for us for this one. We've got a couple more coming up.
Hail Mary!
Hail Mary, Ready or Not 2.
And Mother Mary, I want to say.
Mother Mary, yes. So yeah, give us a like if you like this video. Comment down below. Tell us what your thoughts are. Are you going to see this? Did you see it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was boring? Did you think it was terrifying? Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Am I missing anything else?
Well, I would just like to ask people, because now we've got over 100 subscribers and we do have sort of a dedicated following. If you go back to some of our older videos and you have since seen some of the films, because maybe you didn't see them in theaters when we did the reviews, if you have since seen them on streaming or whatever, we would still really love to hear your opinions. So you can go back to those old videos and from like last year and just tell us what you thought of them, because I love engaging with our fans that way. I love hearing what you guys have to say about it, what you like, what you didn't like. I love hearing your reasoning behind why you're going to give something a chance and why you won't. We have one fan who does that a lot, who's like, yeah, no, I don't know if I'll do this one because of blah, blah, blah. I love that stuff. Like, tell us. We want to hear it. Honesty. Yeah, we want to hear it. We want to hear it. So thanks, everybody.
We'll see you in the next one.
See you at the movies.
See you at the movies.